Welcome to the What the Falk at the Euros, at Berlin, at Happy Place. Ross, how you doing? You've the only one that's joined me so far. We've come straight on from the final whistle because I am absolutely. I've just had a fit of giggles. I'm happy.
Oh, unreal that one. What a moment again. So many moments this team's just turned up, and you always look at like the better teams and who've won things in the past, the likes of France when you had Mbappe, Pogba, Kante, that all turned up, and it just feels like this is the team like Harry Kane just said perfectly on ITV before. If you play 45 minutes, if you play 1 minute, if you play 120 minutes, it doesn't matter. Everybody in the team's contributing to a moment, no matter what it is. And yeah, they never see a die attitude as well. Teams will be thinking, even if they go 1-0 up against us now, oh God, here we go. You know what I mean? But they're still going to come at us. The 90th minute, the amount of late goals we've scored, we keep going till the end. And I was a bit critical during the game about the second half. I think we did change shape, which was needless in my opinion at the time. But once again, Gareth Southgate's proved me wrong. His subs were spot on. Palmer's ball into Watkins, bish bash bosh,
Was
off
it
to Berlin.
Palmer that put the ball in?
It was, yeah. He played him in.
I've got to be honest, my head just completely fucking exploded the minute it went in the back of the net. But it's like, it's so wild. I was thinking like the podcast that we did last night to preview the game. Like, oh, do we go Tony? Do we go Harry Kane? We obviously should have gone fucking Ollie Watkins. I cannot speak from laughing, by the way. Like,
It was. Do you know what it is though? Fair play because when he picked the squad, I think obviously he didn't take Rashford, and everyone was like, "I'd rather have Rashford and they can play both positions." But every forward player now, bar Gordon, which is not really his fault, he hasn't been given an opportunity, has made a positive contribution to this tournament.
mhm.
Um, Foden was outstanding first half today, best game in an England shirt by far.
I agree with that.
Ken,
Actually, I think wasn't just his best game in the tournament. I thought Foden first. You know what? I thought England were excellent first half with the second half okay. Um, I think they had something to hit with Weghorst. But look, we talked about it last night. In reality, like Weghorst at international level shouldn't be any match for the likes of John Stones and the players that we have. Without getting arrogant and big headed, he wasn't. We were the better team by far tonight. It wasn't pure luck. It was a win that, in my opinion, we thoroughly deserved. And that again, that's just another feather in Southgate and the team's cap. Like when we've won games before, like I was at the Denmark game last time, and I thought Denmark played pretty well. I think when they went down 10 men, it became a bit different. And extra time was a bit of a breeze for the magnitude of the game it was. Because obviously Calvin Phillips was playing. I mean, imagine how we would have won the tournament by now if Calvin Phillips was playing. But I think like tonight, we were really good again, and it's just another feather in that team's cap. And you know what? If this was the Germans or the French or the Spanish, we'd be going. There's no point in turning up to the final, and I'm not saying that's going to be the case because the Spanish look to me the best side in the tournament in terms of being attractive. But who gives a flying fuck about being attractive when you're banging in 94th, 92nd minute winners in knockout tournament football? Like this England team has got what it takes to win games.
we're playing like every other team that we used to watch win tournaments. We used to be like, oh, I wish we could be that. Why don't we do that?
Mm-hmm.
And then even myself and loads of England fans, they've probably put in performances like that, but because we've never had the talent of players they've had, we've always thought like, oh, it's mad how they do it. But now we've got the talent where like, come on, we want more. But in tournament football, it's all about winning. And like, against France, I think that's the thing to go back to. France in the World Cup, we were outstanding that game.
I thought we did really well that night. Saka was tremendous that night. And you know what? I kind of had a feeling like the way we were playing first half, I was in the group chat, wasn't I? I was saying about like, oh God, is this France again? Because we were just playing so well. And I was like, oh, when are we going to score? But you know what? Like, if I knew we were going to get to the final the way we've done it, I would have done it all over again. Because like, this
Aye,
is silly.
but there's no point being hindsight because, like you say, everything that's happened, we've been true and we've been reactive about it and we've been honest. But at the same time, the team's never really like panicked. They've even said like Jude's comment was just like everyone was like, oh, well, he's having to go at the fans, he's having to go at the press, he's being a bit arrogant. But they're clearly inside the camp. They were like, We've got it under control. We'll do it our way. You know what I mean? We've equalised. We've equalised with an overhead kick in the 95th minute. We've won the game and with a goal in the first minute of extra time. We've then won on penalties, scoring every penalty. And then we went and won it in the 90th minute after being 1-0 down.
The cat's running on, so give us a minute. Keep talking.
And it's just unbelievable. And I say before, the amount of individuals who've contributed now, the togetherness in the squad's massive. And yeah, I don't even want to think about Sunday now. I just want to enjoy this moment because it's absolutely huge. First final outside of England, which is another, it's something silly, but how many times have we been abroad and we've just faltered? Oh, I remember the old excuses. The old excuses used to be, it's the heat. Fucking heat. You know what I mean? But luckily enough, a lot of our players have played in Europe quite a lot now. But yeah, and I'm blabbering on a bit here now, but just unbelievable. And
to be fair,
again,
I asked you to blab on because of the cat. I'm not going to edit that. I can't be asked. We've just got to make it on with final. There's no editing. There's no editing here.
One thing to do, comment on is the penalty decision. So I'm flabbergasted. People were so adamant it wasn't a penalty. Anywhere else on that pitch, it's a foul. So I do not know why everyone's like, "Oh, it's not a penalty, not." It's a free kick if it's anywhere else on the pitch.
Look, the internet does work in Scotland, contrary to popular belief, hence why I'm on this podcast. However, when Ashley's internet returns to working again, she will tell you before they even consider going to VAR, because I went to the toilet and I'll be a goal kick. I said at the time, I was like, that's a pen, actually. I was like, he's not going to give it. I was like, they're not going to pull that back because, of course, it's not a penalty. But like anywhere else on the pitch, that's 100% a foul. So why they felt it wasn't a foul? I mean, do I care? No, not really. Like, because for everyone who thinks it's not a penalty, Lampard versus Germany, like the foul on Saka, France, like sometimes it goes for you, sometimes it doesn't. But this one for me is not even debatable, mate.
And that one's for fucking Ronald Koeman. That one's for fucking Ronald Koeman. Shove that up you.
That one's for Mr. Koeman. Thank you very much. My dad was there, and it was the first thing my dad said. Not like this family likes to hold a grudge. You bastard. Brad, you've joined us. I'm pleased to have me. Look, I laughed for about the first 2 minutes of the podcast. Feel free to do exactly the same. We're not editing any of this, so please don't get me in trouble with the media. But how are you feeling? I mean, we've been here before, of course, but that was all right.
Get in. Fucking buzzing. Like, wow. And it's funny, man. I didn't even go out for it. Little one's been poorly and I wasn't 100%. But watching it in the house and keeping the kids up to watch it and celebrating like that at the end, unbelievable. I caught the bit there on about the penalty, 100% a penalty. Anywhere else on the pitch, that's a foul. And there should be no difference in the box. I mean, Gary Neville's spouting shite like, well, it's different if it's in the box. No, a foul's a foul, so piss off.
I didn't understand that. Look, I mean...
You mank prick. Piss off.
I said no editing, man. But like, I really like Gary Neville and his punditry and stuff, but I felt like, do you know that guy that tries to be edgy on Twitter by having a different opinion? I mean, people might disagree with me. I have a feeling our Scottish listeners might, Welsh listeners, and especially with Dutch listeners, but that's a foul anywhere else on the pitch. Like, he's saying, oh, you can't even block a shot. Not if you got your foot like flying in the air. Like, that's not how you block a shot. It's not. And they're comparing it to the Denmark penalty. Oh, where's he meant to put his hand? Well, you cannot just chuck your foot at something. Look, if that's against us, you kind of go, well, what are you done that for? Like, sometimes just suck it up. Funny that it was a guy called Dumfries that did it, though, to be fair.
Yeah. He was there for all the Scots, wasn't he? Oh, man.
Well, when you hit the bar, I was like, oh, no. Dumfries going to win this
one. Man. And I mean, I'm sat here, I was sat cursing the subs because I had to hook Bellingham and left Foden on because I thought Foden, he was exceptional first half. I think second half, they changed their shape a bit as well, and they basically marked him out of it, but you could see it was starting to open up a bit, and when Foden was getting it in them little pockets, he was unplayable. But I'm starting to like Gareth Southgate because whenever I slate them, there's these two subs that have came on. One's got the assist and laid it off for the other one who got the winner.
Look, he's a major tournament win away from being the best English manager without debate that we've ever had. It's a big 90 minutes against a really good Spain team. And I'm sure when the euphoria dies down, we'll realise how good that team is and how big of a feat it is to be able to beat a team like Spain. But look, I wrote a thread today which went a bit, my voice is going bloody hell, which is maybe probably a bit too emotional, which apparently I'm famed for now. But like, I've always just wanted England men to win a major tournament, because it was like, I think we've all grew up watching major tournaments with our family, like be that your granddad, be that like your dad, be that your grandma, as it was for me sometimes as well, be that your mum, your dad, whoever. You've all had someone you've started, even your brothers, like you've been with. And when you're young, especially, I was like Italian 90, I was 4. So I barely remember it. I kind of remember David Platt scoring the goal in the house, going mental. And then Euro 96. And I had this kind of like blissful wonder that, of course, England were going to win it, because we're England. That's what you do. We're going to win it. It's my team. I had like no dagger in the heart or like previous feelings of like, oh God. And by the time I'm 23, my housemate's kicking the door off because we drew with like Algeria, and Wayne Rooney's telling us all we're horrible, and all that kind of heartache that goes with it. You know, Beckham's red card when I was at school, hating Simeone, and like let's think, like Romania beating us in the last minute in the group stages. I think it was Keegan was the manager going out, Kevin Phillips barely getting a minute on the pitch. And I'm just like picking things out of the air here. France the last tournament, Italy last tournament. And all I've ever really wanted is like England to win something. Like I've wanted it more than anything, and people can have their own opinions on that. I know some people don't care, but that's fine. Like, this is my own opinion. And I just feel like sometimes, it's never going to happen, is it? Especially after the Italy game, I thought it's just never going to happen. Like in my lifetime, it's not going to happen, and I'm never going to have this. And I'm never going to be able to like do the whole emotional thing of the people who aren't with us anymore and say, look, we did it, and I've seen it, and that kind of thing. I'm getting really deep here, but bloody hell. But like, if it's not this time, if it's not our name on it this time, I genuinely don't think it ever will be. Like, how have we got out of jail against Slovakia with a goal that we did? Because we have players that turn up in big moments. How have we won on penalties? Because we've seen we've like not conquered it, but like, I mean, we talked about how good the penalties were in the Switzerland game, then they were, and tonight again, like 90th minute, and an improved performance. It's a hell of a task. But by God, I believe. I genuinely believe, Ross. I mean, that was a bit of an emotional rant, and my throat's gone a bit. But like, look, this might be egg on our faces, and people can record it and send it back to us. But like, I've got belief. I have got belief, Ross.
Aye, you know what? Why not? Like every time.
And Southgate, that, by the way, let's go back to it. Southgate has given me that. This has been progressing for a while. I've got belief because I believe that Southgate can manage that team to a tournament victory. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah, and of course, Southgate Flowers, his subs have been brilliant the last 2 games. And when we played that 5 at the back system, we've looked superb. I hope we go back to that and start that way against Spain, because I think that gets the best out of individuals. But also, we've got a fantastic group of players. It's been a while, I think, since we've had 3, like, you know what I mean? We went through, obviously, we had like this spell where we had like Sturridge and that and Vardy, but they were good Premier League players. I don't think any of them were like good internationally, really. They had moments again, but again, like Watkins, it's a moment. But in tournaments, they never really turned up. Whereas players in this tournament have turned up and been counted for. And it's all about their moments, and these moments win games. Like that chance for Van Dijk, that cross, Pickford saves it, and that's the only chance I think that Pickford had to save other than the goal. And I look at ours, the keeper had to pull off a couple of saves. We had one block off the line. Again, mind you, they did hit the bar, but we hit the post. But it's fine margins, but it's that quality we've got. It's quality, and it showed, yeah, we've got lucky. We did get lucky against Slovakia. But also, we have that quality on the pitch that these other teams don't have. And even if the teams do have, like France, they've hardly produced anything like that. Portugal never produced anything like that. So I think it's about time we give the players the flowers for how good they are. I don't think that was ever doubted, but I think a lot of it was the tide did start to turn, I think, after the Slovenia game, after the Denmark performance. But now, the full belief, the whole country's behind them. And even today, I mean, Holland outnumbered us, I reckon, quite a lot in the stadium. But I heard England fans all game. Unbelievable. And
I
it's
heard
absolutely
them,
rocking it.
I heard them singing at one point, "Your support's fucking shit," and I was like,
Aye, exactly.
yes, I quite, you know what? And like, I know we've laughed about Koeman and that, but like, if England hadn't won it, I would have wanted the Dutch to win it. I think they're very similar in kind of the heartache they've had and the quality they've had over the years. But
Aye,
like,
but Van Dijk's a fucking prick, isn't he? Like, he's so smug.
I've never met
He's
him.
one of them where, but he's one of them where if he's in your team, you think, he's class. But just the way he like carries himself on the pitch, because he is so good and he can do that, but he just annoys the fuck out of us. I don't know. It's like the Kloppisms of him. I don't know what it is. Like, if I can say that. Sorry, any Liverpool fans listening. I did offend an Everton fan listening the last time I was on. So going for the full set of Merseyside.
We got an Everton fan listening, by the way.
Take the piss
Yeah,
out
it
of
is.
Tranmere.
What?
Oh, they're not Merseyside. They haven't upset Tranmere fans.
No, that's
No.
Tranmere is
Papa John's trophy. Fuck off, Tranmere.
Birkenhead. That's where it is. That's where it is.
Aye.
Birkenhead. We're doing it. We're so delirious. We're now doing a map of well, allegedly not Merseyside, but
Aye. But yeah, I just think like all the talk was about going into it, how, the whole tournament was about how we should be doing well. And I feel like it took us, in all games, it still took us 1-0 down to start playing. So if we can just pretend we're 1-0 down on Sunday, I think we'll win it.
I don't think we started badly, and I think like the deck right was losing the ball, and then Xavi Simons scoring a goal, which I said I was worried about. It's a great strike. Look, at the end of the day, I don't think there's much you can do about it. And I guess we'll never know because I don't think we started badly. It's that early in the game when they score, you don't really think about it. But I just don't know if it was like them scoring that early was a good thing because we just seemed to turn like from that second we just properly turned it on. And I felt like every time we went forward we were going to score, which is like maybe in contrast to some of the games previous in the tournament. But I don't even know what to ask Brad. I'm just like, I'm so buzzed. I'm so happy. And I know there's still a big game to go. But like, that's England men and England women been in 4 major tournaments in the last, 5 years or something. I don't know what my point was going to be with that, but like, I just don't think there's been a better time to support England, regardless of the gender. England men, England women are just really good teams. And I feel like if there's anyone listening, and there's a few people that still kind of complain about Southgate and complain about certain things and feel like things aren't quite right. Look, in the words of Neil Warnock, just fucking enjoy it, man. Just enjoy it. Like, it's never been this good. Like, I'm at that age now where I'm 38 this year. So I'm not ancient, but I've lived a bit. And I don't mean to be like patronizing with that, but it's not this good. This doesn't happen with England. Like, it doesn't. Like, we don't get to major tournament finals. We've never been to a major tournament final outside of England. Now we're going to be there. Just enjoy it. And look, if it happens, and God, I'd honestly give you like, I was going to say I'd give you my balls, but let's just say I'll give you my other nipple. Like, in joke there for the people who know me personally. Just like I'd do anything to win it, but just enjoy it. Like, these moments don't happen. Like, England, and like me growing up, like England winning on penalties against Spain. I still remember, like I say before, Platty scoring at the last minute against Belgium in 1990. I was 4. So it's like a really early memory. There hasn't really been that many moments since then, maybe in qualifying, like Beckham against Greece and stuff like that. In general, it hasn't been that great being an England fan. For how poor we've been at the start of this tournament, I don't think I've had a better time. I don't think I've lost my head more than I've lost my head tonight with England, to be honest with you. And I was, like I say, I was there against Denmark and we scored in the 95th minute about a week and a half ago, 10 days ago. But it just feels great, doesn't it? And all I'm going to say is we've done podcasts for the last 2 Euros. So I think we should probably keep doing them, Brad. What do you reckon? 'Cause it's working
If
out
they're
all
as
right.
good as this one, as long as I don't become completely intolerable. Yeah.
No chance of that ever.
Again.
He's not sensitive, you know.
I don't take things to heart.
I do, so be
Yeah,
nice to us on not 606 and ready to go, and all those people fucking keep being nice to us. Otherwise, I'm gonna get the boys in. And by the boys, I mean Ross. It's not scared anyone, that, has it?
No.
Fucking hell, they went who the fuck's he?
I've gone out of Diet Coke.
Yeah, he's probably the least intimidating person I know. But yeah, it's just enjoyable. And when you do overlook all the negativity, obviously some of the team selection, some of the setups, the style of football has been boring. Ultimately, it's got us to where we are now, which is in the European final, second one in a row. We've been semi-finals, quarter-final at the last World Cup. So much as I didn't like him, Southgate is the one, and he is turning me back on because I think football's coming home again.
Did you see that German copper that looked exactly like him that was going around on Twitter?
Amazing, absolutely amazing.
How can a bloke who's so fuck ugly have so many lookalikes? It's madness, isn't it?
Funny though. I wanted to touch on something because I've just seen him on the telly, Brad, and I'll forget if I don't. Can we just discuss Kobbie Mainoo?
Outstanding.
What a player.
I put it in the group earlier. I just said, like, he is absolutely tremendous. He's been outstanding since he came to the team. And would the negativity in that have been around if he wasn't doing these experiments early on with Trent and Gallagher? If he'd just been in from the start, might have been a bit different. Because he's done play him.
It's just his positivity, Brad. That's the thing.
How old is he? Is he only like 19, 18, 19?
19-year-old.
So people are talking about Yamal, and rightly so, because he's outstanding. This kid's 3 years older. And in football terms, that's not a lot. He's just had his breakthrough season this year. And I tell you now, if Man United don't do something this season, they won't keep hold of him. Because he's absolutely out this world. And that's another thing you've got to give credit to Gareth Southgate for. He's not afraid to bring these young'uns in. And he trusts them. Where you've seen in years gone by, I think the prime example is he took Rashford, didn't he, to the Euros 2016 instead of Defoe, despite Defoe being the top scoring English striker.
That was Hodgson.
Yeah, but I'm saying they as in England. England done it. They took him there just for a bit of experience. And I think Walcott went under Sven just to get some tournament experience because they thought he was going to go right to the top as well. And they never got on. He's using the young boys and he's done it throughout his entire time. So credit to him there as well. I don't understand how I've slated Southgate so much, and the amount of credit I'm giving him is all the stuff he's done to get us to these last stages of the tournament. But yeah, Mainoo, he's frighteningly good mind for his age. Frightening.
But I think, Brad, like the criticism at the start of the tournament was warranted, and I'm a big Southgate fan, but I think it was warranted. But like, look, he's do you know what I've really liked about him this tournament? He shocked a few people. I think we've said on this podcast itself, like, I don't expect him to change it. And you said in the group chat, Ross, you're like, I'm absolutely shocked that he's put Luke Shaw on. Like, I was a bit like, oh, he's changed it already. And he changed it tonight for me when it started to swing towards the Dutch a little bit, and it changed. But I said it before, right? We can talk about subs, and you can talk about tactics, and you can talk about like how much he looks like a German copper as much as you want. But like the thing is, Ross, I think he's given England the biggest thing that we've been missing, certainly since maybe Italia 1990, Euro 96, when I was much younger and far better looking, probably. It's just like his man management. The boys want to play for him. And I think, look, it's different. International football, I could never begin to imagine what the pressure's like and what getting on with your manager, what kind of importance getting on with your manager and having a belief in your manager can have at that kind of height of life, I suppose. But we've all had a manager that we hate, not naming any names, and we've all had a manager that we like, and you'll just do that little bit more. I used to have a manager that I absolutely loved. That was like not my best mate, just a good bloke, and I would have done anything for him. And I think when it comes to football and professional sport, it's even more important to have that. And I don't think there's anybody in that dressing room, rightly or wrongly, that isn't fully behind Southgate and hasn't been since the start of the tournament. And I think we're starting to see the fruit of how important that is. But yeah, you know what? I'm just happy, mate.
Graham, Graham,
What?
we're in Germany. We're in a final. We're 90 minutes, 120 minutes, a penalty shout away from European glory in German soil against probably the best team in Europe. Let's go for it. Fuck it.
Yeah, I agree with it. And I think, do you know what I think's massive as well going into the game? I do think it'll be tight again. I think Spain into the game as favourites. But one thing I would say, Ross, is that I think the likes of Ollie Watkins, Ivan Toney, Cole Palmer, they'll all be sitting on the bench. Maybe even Anthony Gordon, who we cried out for early in the tournament. They'll all be sitting on the bench going, I can come on and make an impact here because every other sub has, or I have done before. And that makes us just a little bit more dangerous. I talked about it, Righty and Gary Neville talked about it in the pre-game. And they were saying how, looking at our bench, there's just so many options to change it. We talked about that in our preview show of the actual tournament, about how we've got such a strong squad, so much ability to change it. Spain are really good, but
one thing as well, Graham, that we haven't mentioned, which I think, sorry to jump in, which I think we should.
No, it's fine. You probably should. I'm getting far too deep.
In that preview, the one thing we said was, I'm really worried about us at the back at centre half, though. And my God, Mark Gahey and Konza have well and truly proved their worth as top quality international defenders. And Stones has grown in the tournament. Walker's grown in the tournament. Even Trippier defensively, he's been solid. You know what I mean? It's not the Trippier's defensive side that's let us down.
No, I've got no issue. I've got no issue with Trippier as a player for England. I think he'll go down as one of my more preferred. I was going to say favorite. That's not that would be a fucking total lie.
He's solid professional. That's what he is.
He's a good player. There's a reason why when he signed for that lot up the road, I went, oh shit.
And I'm going to be honest, I don't know if Harry Maguire gets back in this England team anymore.
No, I don't think so either. And I'm a big Harry Maguire fan. Just to point this out, I'm not a Maguire hater. I'm far from it. I think he's been the best English centre half probably since John Terry, potentially, over the years. But I think the way Mark Gahey's performed, and I think the way Konza performed the other night, you kind of drop Gahey at the minute. And if you drop him Gahey or he's injured, then Konza deserves his chance. And as we've talked, I read a thing before about the front page of the newspaper after the Croatia defeat. And it was going through how old every player was and like how old they would be in like the next Euros or whatever, and why we should not be this kind of positivity that had lasted a long time with England up until maybe the group stages. That started from the fact we were like, oh my God, all our players are still pretty young. I think Kane was 24 at the World Cup when we reached the semi-finals. It's kind of happening again. Like when you're looking through the squad, there's a lot of kids and a lot of like young 20-year-old players there. Like Kane's phenomenal. I know he's had a poor tournament, but he's had a poor tournament with 3 goals. That's a goal every other game, the way he's played, which tells you the kind of quality that he has. But I trust like a Ollie Watkins to come in at the next tournament if he has to. I trust a Mark Gahey now to come in for a Maguire, or if Stones is injured, I trust a Konza. I think, what do we do if I know the World Cup was like Jesse Lingard and Dele Alli, who you would expect, at least Dele Alli, based on the way he was playing at the time, to be part of that team. But now we've got Bellingham and Foden, and they're both like, 21, 24? If not that, you've got Cole Palmer, Anthony Gordon. Like, there's players coming through. Like, the future of this is not like if we don't win this tournament, which I fucking hope we do, because we need to win one at some point, but we might not. that is a reality, and that's a stark reality because it's 90 minutes where we could easily lose the game, especially against Spain. They're a good team. But the future of this team doesn't end after this tournament. You don't look at this team and go, oh, they've got to win it, otherwise they never will. The future doesn't end at this tournament. We are now producing world-class players across the board consistently. And I think, Brad, like, if worse comes to worse and we're heartbroken again in typical England fashion on the weekend, that is a massive positive, isn't it? That the way that, like, Cole Palmer's played when he's came on the pitch, Ollie Watkins having that moment tonight, Mano's tournament experience, like Gahey's tournament experience now, and phenomenal performances. Konza coming into a quarter final and being fantastic. And I'm sure I'm missing players out. I mean, Dec Rice is what, 24? Like, you've got players there that have just got so many more years in them, and most of them have already reached the second major tournament final. The future of this team is bright. I want to ask a big question here, Brad. And I want to ask it you specifically because I'm rambling a bit, but I think this is a good question. It just popped in my head. If England win this tournament, you have to give Gareth Southgate a new contract. Yes or no?
No.
Why?
Go out on a high.
But do you not think he has legs to get more of these players through another tournament?
Potentially. And I think there was someone, I can't remember who was saying it, but it was actually a really, really good point. It was a pundit, I think. And they said if Southgate goes after this while he's stock signed, the next manager comes in, doesn't get the best out of them, Southgate's got that to come back. He can always reappoint and bring him back to help you out. I just think if he was to sign a new contract and it went tits up in the World Cup or the next Euros, people will always go back and say, yeah, he won it, but look at the path. And it'll always have this clouded thing about it again. I think if he wins it and then finishes, it's a perfect way to sign off. If he wins it and they offer him a new contract, am I going to be fuming? No, not at all. But I just think it's the right time. I mean, there's not many managers really go for, how many years has he been in the job now? 8? Is it 8? 7, 8? So
8, I think.
There ain't many that go that far. And I mean, if he wins it, the only way you top it is by winning the World Cup and potentially retaining it. And that's very, very rare that happens. And I would hate it to go back to being... I've seen it being quite abusive towards him as well. And I would hate that because if he was to go out at the top, it's sort of like the perfect way to round it off for him. But we have to get there first, and if we win it, that's a conversation for another day. But I can't see it, to be honest.
I'll give you another question to end on because Ross has had to go. I would drive into Berlin because I've looked at flights and it's really expensive. I've got a chance of a ticket, so if you fancy getting in the car and driving, should we just do it? Do a live pod? It'd be really funny, Brad. I feel like I'm convincing you because you're smiling.
But that means I have to drive 3 hours up there and pick you up and then drive 3 hours back.
No. I'll get a train down. Should we just drive there?
That's a conversation for later on tonight.
Okay, good.
But if there's a lot of background noise on the next podcast, they'll know that you persuaded me.
Should we just leave it at that and I'll come in your DMs and try and convince you?
Yeah, I'm glad you finished that with come in your DMs.
Are we the lads? Is that right?
It's amazing.
No,
yeah.
No, hang on. Southgate.
Coming home.
That's it. Aye. How are we the lads? Aye.
It's coming home.
I hope so.